Good evening, everybody. I can see that people are starting to join. Just to confirm that you're in the right place, this is our CalSOAP webinar where we're going to teach you all about scholarships, scholarship resources, and it's going to be especially helpful for 12th graders and their families and people who support them. So if you are a high school senior, a parent or guardian of a high school senior, you know, or work with high school seniors, this is some great information. And specifically because we are San Diego CalSOAP, one of our partners that we work with is the San Diego Foundation. San Diego Foundation gives away so many scholarships, so much scholarship money, and it's specifically earmarked for students who are here in San Diego County. And so they actually have a common scholarship application that opened today, which is very exciting. So we have a couple different speakers. One thing that I want to mention is that you'll notice that for you, the participants, the chat will appear like it's disabled. You could, if there's a link in it, you can click on it, but you wouldn't be able to use the chat to ask a question. You will, however, have a Q&A feature. It might be along the bottom of your Zoom screen, or if you tap the more 3 dots, it might come up as Q&A, but you can ask questions there and we will do our best. We have Brianna Parker here. She is a UC San Diego student who is volunteering her time here, and she is going to answer as many questions as she can, and she can also ask them out loud to our presenters. And we're going to have 2 presenters. Our first and main presenter tonight is going to be Lily Alcantara from the San Diego Foundation, and she's going to talk about their scholarship application, how to fill it out, and the different parts of it. And then when she's concluded, our director, our CalSOAP director, Linda Dowdy, is going to give you some information on other scholarships and scholarships in general. So one last thing before I turn it over to them is I wanted to mention again, if you have a question, then please go ahead and put it in the Q&A and we will do our best to answer it. And just know that starting tomorrow on our CalSOAP website, calsoapsandiego.org, we have a section for, it's called webinars/blog, and we will be posting, this is recording right now, and we will be posting this webinar. So anybody, you or even people who weren't here, members of the public, can access that. And also if we have slides that are shared, then I can also share a copy of those slides on our website starting tomorrow as well. So yes, if you want a copy of this webinar, it will be on calsoapsandiego.org beginning tomorrow, as well as the slides. I just need to get those from our presenters. So I'm going to go ahead and not waste any more time and start with our first presenter, Lily. She is here from the San Diego Foundation. She is going to talk to you about their Common Scholarship application that opened today. So Lily, please.
Hi, my name is Lily Alcantara, and I am the Community Scholarship Administrator at the San Diego Foundation. I am basically the liaison between schools, financial aid, and you guys, the students, and the one that will be cutting your checks twice a year. So today is opening day for our Common Scholarship application. We will be closing March 8th at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. kind of sounds weird, but the reason is, in case you guys have any issues on the last day, we will be there in office to help you guys out. So why should you guys apply to the Common Scholarship application? Well, instead of looking for a bunch of scholarships and inputting the same information over and over and doing 5 million different essays, this application is just one application, and in the background, it will map you to about 140 different opportunities that we have through our foundation. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys our website now. You can go to sandiegofoundation.org to find our application. This is the homepage. This here will direct you to where you can find the application. Or you can click Menu, Students, Common Scholarship Application, and it will bring you to the same area. Then you would click this button here, and this here is our portal. So here, everybody, including if you are a prior recipient, say if you got an award when you were a junior, we do have 2 scholarships for juniors so you would just sign up here and it will show it to you guys. But if you are graduating seniors upcoming soon, you would apply here. And then this is what the homepage will look like. So once you get here, you click apply. Whoops, They've idled a little bit too long. Let me just sign back in. So this is how it looks like for students. You would click apply. And this is the information in the beginning: who can apply: graduating high school seniors, current college students, adult reentry. It will talk about when our deadline is. At the end of the application, there are additional questions for some funds, so supplemental questions. Those will also be due Wednesday, March 8th at 2 p.m. And that is a hard deadline. On this homepage, you can check out some of our criteria. So this shows all the funds that we have and what they're kind of looking for, and if they have additional materials. So if you might think that this application is kind of daunting, you can just take a look beforehand. It also will show you information about the FAFSA and frequently asked questions, as well as tips for competitive scholarship applications. Okay, so now I've read it all. I had a snack break, got my water here. I'm ready to apply. You will now click the apply button. And this looks like a lot, right? But if you close all the tabs, it doesn't look too bad. There's actually only 11 sections here that you need to fill out. See? Not so bad. One main thing that I would point on the first registration page, though, is please do not use your high school email. Once you graduate, that email will soon be deactivated. So I would advise you to make a new email like lilyscholarships@gmail.com or lilygoestocollege@gmail.com. Just something that you would use mainly throughout your college years to have an open communication with us. Because if you are a recipient, we will be sending you follow-up information throughout the years for you to reapply and whatnot. Okay, so now I'm going to show you our PowerPoint. We're going to start off and talk about each section and where the money lies. So again, I just want to say that deadline is at 2 p.m. March 8th. It's also very important to say that you should dedicate about 3 to 4 hours to this application, including the supplemental essays and or letters of recommendation, and that this whole application auto saves. So you don't have to worry about the internet crashing or like, hey, I'm getting kind of hungry now, so I want to go eat. It will save and you can just hop right back in when you're ready. So no need to feel overwhelmed. It is also very important that you have filled out the FAFSA or California Dream Act before applying, because we do need your SAR report in order for you to apply. Next page. Okay, so this is drop down number 1. Drop down number 1 is the media release. So our foundation asks for the media release for advertising materials, but most importantly, students are asked to make a quick thank you video to be sent to their donors once they are recipients. If you hop onto our Instagram page, there's a mini video that shows a thank you video right now of our past recipients. Section. Drop down number 2 is the demographics. The top thing to note is that no information is ever shared. Everything is confidential. So the evaluators that will be reading and scoring your application, no one will ever see any information here. This section is mainly to map students to certain scholarships that may be matched to them. What does that mean? Free money lies everywhere. We have certain funds that students, based on their ethnicity, sexual identity, citizenship, and foster youth. So again, this is just for mapping purposes, and no information is shared or factors into your application score. So say if you're a first generation college student, again, that is a mapping purpose. Say if you're part of an AVID program or BLCI, a college readiness program, this is where this question is important to you because it will be asked right here. So say if you are an AVID senior standout or top STEM scholar, you would make sure that it's important for you to click that little button right here, or if you did CIF wrestling, they're all matching purposes to get you to a fund that is in your criteria. And again, no information is ever shared here. Say if you have a parent that works at the Santa Luz Club or is part of the Vista Irrigation District. Again, this is the mapping purpose, but in case you missed this section and you have submitted the application, please email us and we can go back in and help you out and fill it out. Okay, the next section is academics. So current academics is you are a graduating high school senior. The most important section here that I'd like to say is please ask your counselors or your favorite teacher, what is your current high school district? Why do I ask this? Because if you look at this picture here, there are a ton of different school districts. And again, why is it important? Because this maps you to free money, meaning that some districts actually have certain funds just for your area. So it's another mapping criteria. Okay. Here you would put your current GPA. Although this year, from what I hear, not like when I was in school, SAT scores and ACT scores are not needed to apply to college, but there are some funds that ask you to complete these. So if you have, it'd be great for you to put this information here. And I would just also like to say that the scholarships are very scary sometimes. You might think like, what if I'm not the best student? Or like, I don't know what to put. You don't really have to worry because there's many different criterias here. And most of our applications or most of our funds are for low income students. And the minimum GPA for some of them is a 2.0. So it's a free application. Why not just try it out? Who knows what might happen? Next section. Fall education plans. Here, this is where you kind of know what school you're going to go to. So you would put a 4-year college freshman. You could either be going to a community college or a university. You'd put full-time or part-time. Important section here is don't put more than 2 majors. Reason being is you can get disqualified from our application if you try and click all the majors just to see if you can get the most funds. I think it's very important for you to either put, if you're not sure what major you want, you can put undecided, but if you're already thinking that like, yeah, I want to go into STEM or I want to go into education, you might be missing out on some major specific funds if you don't click on those items. And I do understand that some schools don't want you to, pick a major until your sophomore year. And we totally understand that. You can totally email us about that as well. Okay, finances. Let's see. Okay, here, once more, FAFSA and the California Dream Act is needed to apply. The FAFSA would generate the expected family contribution, also known as your EFC. It will be shown on your student aid report, which might take a week or 2 to be emailed to you. So you will need to upload your student aid report for this application. This page asks students about their financial status. Majority of our scholarship is for low-income students, but if you have a high EFC, it does not eliminate you from qualifying for our scholarships. So again, it's an application. You should just apply. Okay, this here means that we are halfway now. This is tab number 6 in my favorite section, actually. Community service, work experience, extracurricular, and awards. Why is this my favorite section? Well, it tells you more about you. Extracurricular is something about you that you do during school hours and within school. Community service is for others. So say food bank, or you volunteered at the local library or homeless shelter. This is where you put that information. You click either yes or no. Say if you click yes, there'll be a drop down that will give you 4 opportunities to put the information that you have. If you put no for say all three of these, there will be a section that says, why have I not done any of these items? There's many valid reasons, like life happens. Say I am the oldest child and I have to go home early because I have to watch my 3 siblings. Nothing will be held against you. So, but just be as honest as you can be. The next section is personal statement. So say if you didn't complete your FAFSA yet and you're waiting for your SAR report, you can start working on your personal statement and you can just hop back in once you get that report uploaded. So if you have the time now, you can take a screenshot. These are the 2 prompts that are currently on our application. I will also send them to Carla just to post it up. So a pro tip I like to give students is that if you've written something similar in class, or say you started applying to scholarships a while ago and you've written to something similar, go ahead and use it. Like, why waste your 200, 250 words that you've spent time making? But please send it to a teacher or a counselor to proofread to make sure that you've answered the question fully. In this area, it can, do we have a question?
We do. I see somebody is saying, what if we know we have an internship coming up before the application deadline, but we have not actually started that internship yet? How would they report something that's, if you want to call it a future activity?
You can talk about that here in your education and your career goals and like how you've already started your path, I would say. But if you have any other questions, you can email me at scholarships@sdfoundation.org. Okay. With this section, what I like is that students can really paint their portrait and tell us their lives and why they want to become who they are seeing in their mind. Next section is, this is the last page before submitting. So I did say that the application auto saves, but once you get to this page and you submit application, and say I forgot to click I'm an avid top STEM scholar, you would then have to email us to change the answer, because once you submit, you are not able to go back in and change your answer. So please, our email is scholarships@sdfoundation.org. Please proofread your application and go through it once before you fully submit. So this is what it looks like once you've submitted the Common Scholarship application. But when I say the Common Scholarship application, you can see like here, this top section that gives little details about each fund. Those are the ones that have been automatically submitted for the students. That means there's no supplemental question. But as you can see down here in this yellow box, it says we will ask for supplemental information for the following. So what that means is that maybe you might need to do an extra essay or you need a letter of recommendation. These scholarships means that you have extra work to do. So let's go to the next page. So once you get to your homepage, this is what it looks like. As you can see here, the San Diego Foundation Common Scholarship application, it says submitted, meaning that is done. That as you got matched to all of these funds that we have. It says submitted, meaning you don't have to worry about those. But the William Lucille Ash Scholarship, it says assigned, and it has a due date, and it has edit application. That means you have to click into these and there is something needed by these funds, meaning that you haven't been fully submitted yet. And again, all supplemental questions are due the same time that our Common Scholarship application is closed, March 8th at 2 p.m. That is a hard deadline. We will not be accepting any late letters of recommendations or materials. So what does it look like when you go into it? So let's see here. I went into the BLCI College Success Scholarship. This one had supplemental questions. So what does it need from me? It says that I have to do an extra essay and I also have to upload a transcript. And again, it shows you the deadline. And then you click submit. Say if you need to do a letter of recommendation. This is what it'll look like if you need to do a letter of recommendation. So I am matched to the San Pasqual Academy scholarship, but I need a letter of recommendation. Once you get to this page, we actually have written out a template for you to send to your teacher. Dear so-and-so, I'm applying for scholarships through the 23-24 Common Scholarship application. You can just copy this whole thing. You would then put the teacher or counselor, coach, whoever you'd like to pick into this section. So I did Melanie M at scfoundation.org. I would then click compose email. I would copy our little template and paste it there. Make sure that you put the person's name and title it. So San Pasqual letter of recommendation needed for scholarship. And then you would send. So once it sends to the teacher, they will be able to get 2 emails into their inbox and they will know how to apply directly to our website. If I would make sure that you let the teacher know that they are expecting a letter of recommendation from you. So if, say, you sent it, but you haven't heard back from the teacher, or it still says that no one uploaded it, check back in at least a week or so.
Hey, Lily. There's a question in the Q&A. Terrace Hernandez asked if you'll repeat the information about the 11th grade scholarships.
Oh, sure. So for 11th grade scholarships, let me see if I can show you really quick. Let me just open a new page. Hold on. So if you go to this page, say if I'm applying, I hope it goes the way that I think it is. I log on. So I'm applying. So once I have registered, it'll say University Club Lamp of Learning Scholarship. And down here, it's the Diana Venable Scholarship. So you just have to register on our homepage, the one that looks like this. Once you register, it will bring you to here. And underneath, we have 2 scholarships for juniors. It's not like a common scholarship application where you only have to do 1 application. Here, this is 2 separate applications. It will ask you the same questions. So again, save your prompts because you might have to use it twice, but you'll have to apply to both of these. And that's how you can apply for the juniors. But if you're graduating senior or anything else, you would click the common scholarship application and click apply here. But it'll take you to the application because I'm currently in it. Okay. So to go back to my presentation, this is what it'll look like for your teachers. They will get your first template email, and then they'll also get a little section where they will click on it and they'll know that you sent something. But just in case it went to their spam, because who knows, I would just let them know. Okay, here's our timeline. So that's something else you don't have to worry about. But today is January 18th. This is the launch of our application. It will be closing March 8th at 2 p.m. Again, all supplemental and common scholarship application will be closed at 2 p.m. March 8th. Sometime in April, this is when our foundation and our volunteer committees will be evaluating your application. And then around June, that is when you'll be able to find out if you are a recipient through the portal, and we'll also be emailing you. So if you have any questions, you can reach me at scholarships@scfoundation.org. Do we have any questions? I'm just going to go back to the prompt page just so in case students want to save it. But that is pretty much the end of my presentation.
All right, thank you, Lily. And Lily is not able to stay with us for the entire hour until 7. So if people have questions about specifically about the San Diego Foundation scholarship application, now is a good time to ask her. So we will be getting into in just a second other places to research scholarships, but now is a good time to drop in the Q&A if you have any questions specifically for Lily about the San Diego Foundation and their scholarships. And we've also put in the chat, we've also added her email address, scholarships@sdfoundation.org. Anybody have any additional questions for Lily about the San Diego Foundation scholarship? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and then segue into introducing our next presenter, which is Linda. And Linda Dowdy is our CalSOAP director. She has been doing this for many years. She also has a daughter herself who went through the whole college going process and got scholarships. She has been on scholarship committees. She has seen it from every side and every angle. So she has a lot of great advice to give on where to look for scholarships, how to make yourself eligible for scholarships, and what scholarships are looking for. So Linda, it looks like you are sharing your screen. Are you able to begin? Or if you need any assistance, let us know. All right, we'll give Linda one moment, and it looks like there are a couple questions in the Q&A. So while Linda gets her presentation queued up, we will take a look at those.
Sharing, stop sharing. Okay, let me try it again. All your stuff is in my way.
Do you need, hi there, do you need to click on share or?
There you go. Do you see it?
Yes, we don't see you, but we hear you, but we see your slides. Yes.
Okay, that's all I want to do.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Good
right.
evening. My name is Linda Dowdy, and as Carla has said, I've been director of CalSOAP for many years. And when we talk about many years, I'm thinking about 28 or 29 years. During that time period, I have been a parent of a college student. And in order for my daughter to afford to go out of state, she and I had to come up with a plan of figuring out and getting as many scholarships that we can. She's received things like the Amtrak scholarship, the Farmers National Scholarship, the Essence Time Warner Scholarship. That was a nice check that dropped in our mail for $10,000. And I've also have been experienced with sitting on scholarship committees where we had to select young people who are very much like you to decide who these people would be getting our particular scholarship. So tonight, I'm going to be talking about a couple things. I want to start off with some just general information. Paying for college. I want you to remember that paying for college is a solid investment with lifetime benefits. You know, people go into debt for cars, for sometimes nonsense things. But a college education is your solid investment for a lifetime benefits. I also want to talk about the basics about why do you apply for a scholarship? As you know, colleges are getting more and more expensive, and financial aid is available to help finance your college education. And what scholarship dollars do is to help reduce the amount of student debt. So the more scholarships you bring in, you can work with your campuses to see, can you reduce your loans? Can you reduce your cost of the education there? We also know into the basics that all 5 systems of higher education in California and out-of-state colleges and universities will take your scholarship money. So from community colleges to CSUs, the UCs, the private, the independents, and the vocational and tech in California, and definitely all these out-of-state colleges and universities want that money to help you to finance your education. We also know that if you are a high school senior, and I want to say this very clearly, most scholarships are now asking one of the basic questions, and of course the San Diego Foundation is one of the leaders in this. Have you completed a FAFSA or a California Dream Act? Well, I just want to remind you that people, scholarship awarders want to make sure that you've done everything that you can to get all the money that for college that you can get. Some people have to, don't know which one's a FAFSA, which application do you complete for the FAFSA and California Dream Act. If you're a U.S. citizen, a permanent resident, or a T visa, you're gonna definitely apply using the FAFSA. Also, if you're a California Dream Act applicant and you do not have a social security number, you may be viewed as undocumented, you might have received DACA, you are U visa or TPS, you will fill out the California Dream Act. I also want to talk about the sources of scholarships. There are basically 4 sources of scholarships that are out there. One is the federal government, one is your state government, one of your colleges and universities, and then there's a lot of private donors. A scholarship is an award for the purpose of furthering a person's education. It's an award based on a range of criteria which reflects the value or purpose of the donor or founder of the award. Some might be geared towards science, some might be geared because you're going to be an education major, some of it may be geared towards something about you personally or in your family that may make you worthy of receiving that scholarship. And the great thing about scholarships is you do not have to repay it. It is not a loan. One of the things I want to make sure you understand that most scholarships are going to be paid directly to students' college financial aid office, and it's dispersed to you to the student. So the scholarships do not come in your name. It will come in the name of your university or your college. Some of them are renewable, but some are only one time only. Generally, many of the scholarships that are awarded to seniors, most of those can be one time only. So you have to think beyond that. Scholarships are not just for, I'm a senior and I'm going to apply. You got to constantly do scholarships all the way till you graduate. You can accept and use multiple different scholarships simultaneously. My daughter had 4 or 5 going at the same time. And so I was letting you know you can take more than one. And most colleges will allow aid to cover up to the cost of attendance, but you can't exceed that amount. For example, you hear of these young people who says, I've got $100,000 in scholarships, but if the cost of attendance of their campus is only $50,000, they've got to work with their scholarship funders to figure out if they can carry that money forth in the next year. These are factors. These are what we call factors that may make a student eligible for scholarships. You can look down the list from gender, orientation, financial need is very prevalent. You know, it's not the only thing, but financial need, citizenship, sometimes a specific high school that you belong to. Maybe it's a city or a county that you belong to, about your background or your heritage. It could be about race or ethnicity, a veteran, a military or descendant. It could be about religious affiliation. Maybe you or your parents are members of an organization. Sometimes it's based on GPA. Sometimes it's SAT, ACT scores. Sometimes it's sports related. Sometimes it's work experience. Sometimes it could be about a hobby that you have or an activity that you do. Community service seems to be very prevalent right now too. Also, you have a special talent or special skill. Maybe it's also about leadership and college and career goals and college selection. So there's a plethora of scholarships out there. You've just got to figure out which one or ones you want to apply to. Okay, what happened here? Okay. Same thing happens every time. Excuse me, let me come out of my stop share for a second. Sorry, Carla. It does it every time, right? For some
That's
reason,
okay.
it's
You can
there.
always like stop share and then start share again. It happens.
I know, I'm gonna try to figure out what's going on here. Let me try it again. Let me see if I can share.
There you go. It's back on the same page.
I know, but it's not moving forward. It's not advancing. One more time. Let me try it again. I'm
Okay.
gonna have to come out of stop share. That does so well. Okay, and let me have to end the show. I'm gonna have to go back into, one moment, please. I'm gonna have to go back into, let me go to this mode. Can you see it now? You see something, right?
Yes, I
I'm gonna
do.
go to this mode because it seems I can probably manipulate it much quicker. I don't have a lot of time. So that's basically the factors that make students eligible for scholarships. Then we also have other scholarships that are being assigned by colleges once you have been accepted. There's your college specific awards. For example, UC San Diego does the Chancellor Scholarship, Associate Scholars. Community colleges does the Promise. And this is this year's information about the Promise, right? Then you also have athletic scholarships. And athletic scholarships are those that you should have been contacting the NCAA starting in your junior year. There are people on your campus, either an athletic director or a counselor that can better explain this to you, but there are athletic scholarships out there. We also have academic awards that are awarded once you again are accepted. Usually academic awards are about that GPA. We have department awards, something about you when you apply and you said, I want to be an engineer. Usually the engineering department or whatever department that you've applied to may look at you and want you so bad that they will offer you additional funds. There are private organizations that are out there and they can go from $50 to $20,000 plus in giving you money. There are a lot of corporations that are out there. And I'll give you some samples of those. Let's suppose you're in technology. You can do Google, you can do Dell, Microsoft, Adobe, and Raytheon are classic examples of scholarships that are available. Let's suppose you are thinking about the food and beverage area, right? McDonald's, if you work for McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Coca-Cola, and Dr. Pepper are examples of where I would look for scholarships. Let's suppose you're into automotive. You may want to do automotive engineering, things like that. There's Toyota, the BMW, the GM Award, the Shell, the Chevron. There's also another kind of scholarships that are out there. They're called from religious organizations. I know that my church in particular sets aside so much money in its budget. And what they are doing is they are funding students within our church. So please check with your church or your religious organizations to see if there's scholarships available. We also, one of the things that we don't do well, and I work with high schools all the time, your high school, your school districts, and your county office of education are where a lot of your scholarship information sits. And there's counselors are always mounting them on websites. If you go into the counseling offices, there are boards that are saying, these are the scholarships that are available. So often students come in, but they don't look around. They don't ask counselors or tell their story about, I need scholarships to go to college. So this is where you tell your story and ask for support at your school sites or do it through your districts. There's also Chamber of Commerce. There's the San Diego Chamber of Commerce. There's the Black Chamber of Commerce and Latino Chamber of Commerce that's out there. These are private businesses that are putting money together so that you will be, could fund college. And there's always other private organizations. Like, for example, if you're thinking about going to a historically Black college, the United Negro College Fund has a lot of scholarships. that are available. The military, if your parent is a retired military or in the military, they need to go, you need to probably take some time and explore the CalVet that's in particularly California. And I think you can take these across state lines, but the military is a way to go. So you have to go down, if you're in San Diego, you can either, I know there's one in Oceanside, but there's and one down in Mission Valley in San Diego. If your parents, and your parent would know where they can go and get information about this. Here's what I think is the hardest thing about scholarships is how do you organize scholarship process? My only thing I'm going to say is you got to gather all the information in one place. I often have students who act like every time they do a scholarship, it's just like they're starting from scratch. We're telling you very clearly that once you've done a scholarship or applied for a scholarship, much of the information you can transfer over to other scholarships. Most scholarships, to help you, some are going to ask for you to create a resume. They ask about your education, if you have employment, your honors and awards, your extracurricular activities, and your community service. They also, most scholarships tend to ask for letters of recommendations. I'm telling you, the best way to do this is to have 3 people who are willing to write you a recommendation. And the same people who wrote you a recommendation, maybe for your college, can often tweak the letter they've already sent to your college to use that letter of recommendation for scholarships. But you have to ask them in a timely manner. You also should have current transcript. I don't know how many times my daughter and I, someone's called and says, hey, there's a scholarship that's due on Tuesday, and we're hearing about it on a Sunday night. But what saved us a lot of times is we had a current transcript, because that's one of the requirements, and we could actually send it or upload the information into the system. So I always say have 3 current transcripts around. Also, short essays or essays, right? Answers. This is critical. There are only so many questions they can ask you when you're doing scholarships. They can ask you about why do you want to go to college? They can ask you about your career, like why do you want to do a certain career, right? They can ask you about a current event topic. What strikes you as something that you are passionate about? So those are the kind of things that once you've done it, it is easy just to transfer it over or to use it for multiple applications. And most important, most scholarships have a deadline. So I'm just letting you know, those are the kind of things that to help you get organized. Be back up one more time. Here are what I look for. I've sat on so many scholarship committees. And here's what I love about them, is that they always ask for the same components. The short answer, the essay. Sometimes if you're in the arts, they'll ask you for sample work or project submission. I can remember a young lady telling me that she wanted to do, she wanted to be a home designer or something. And the first thing I said was, show me your work. And of course she said, but I don't have anything. I said, well, I guess you weren't that interested in that particular career. So if you're in the arts, you got to be able to show, either have videos, something that's going to showcase what you do. Extracurricular activities, critical. Transcript, critical. Letters of recommendation, critical. Interviews. I want to say that interviews can come in so many different forms now when you're doing your application. They could, if you're in the finalist, they can do Zoom with you now. They can ask you to come in and do a in-person interview. They could do a telephone interview. So I'm just letting you know and they may ask you to send in something via YouTube or something. So I'm letting you know interviews have changed tremendously. And again, the arts, they could actually do the showcase and audition that you've done. They always ask you about honors and awards. They always ask you about your test scores. I can remember a daughter, here she is, graduating from college, and law school was asking her about her PSAT scores, which we just happen to have, right? So always keep your test scores. Where do you look for stuff? I look for scholarships in many different ways. Number one, I've almost like the old commercial E.F. Hutton. Keep your ears to the ground. You can look for scholarships online, websites, just tool around. I like to use just plain old Google, and I ask Google a question, and then it starts populating and giving me information about stuff. For example, you could be a 3.5 GPA, African American, who's interested in doing political science, and it will start showing you scholarships that are out there. I check out social media. There's a lot of stuff on social media. Talk to your counselors, your teachers, and community groups that you belong to. Career centers for counseling are always in place. And also just talk to peers that are in your class. Here are some websites that we have found to be very good. CalSoap hosts them. We also have CalSoapVirtualClassroom.com. We also have FastWeb, Opportunity, collegeboard.org, scholarships, and San Diego. Of course, we just heard from the San Diego Foundation. To which scholarships do I apply? Do you apply to everything and anything? No, you need to have a 50-50 chance of getting it. You have to be able to address whatever the scholarship person who's actually funding it wants you to address. If you're struggling, that may not be the scholarship for you. Don't make up the information, because we know, as a person that's done this many times with different scholarships, you know which candidates are authentic. So 50-50 chance is what I tell people. They also, I want to talk about the specialness factor. It's being special. You know, when you do an application, you just can't slap it together. You got to make it sound and be special. What distinguishes you from somebody else? That's what makes a difference. I always tell people there are really only 9 things that you're really going to paint. The first one is do-gooder. That means you're out here doing a lot of good work in your community. A lot of community service hours are being logged in. And you're very specific. It's not a whole array. It's focusing in on something that maybe even be tied to what you want to be whenever you go to college. Creative talent. The survivor. The survivor is someone who's had to overcome obstacles. The brainiac. You have always been the smartest, right? But it's not about the grades. It's about how did you prepare yourself to do this? The activist is someone who's out here, who's talking about the causes and things like that that's happening in America. And you're out there being forward thinking and out there leading the charge. Entrepreneur, people want to start their own businesses. The leader is someone who's probably somebody who's done ASB, been the president of something, has been football captain. I mean, those are the kind of leaders that they're looking for. Scientists, you know, that's STEM. It's all about STEM. And finally, athlete. Those are 9 portraits how you can kind of picture yourself when you're looking at them. Here's what usually when I work on a group, they usually look at 10 factors about how do we judge who do we want. We look at how hard somebody's worked. We looked at, did they overcome obstacles? Did they demonstrate teamwork? Did they demonstrate perseverance? That means even when it got tough, they kept going. Individual initiative is they took the lead when nobody else is going to take the lead. Passion and enthusiasm, which is I look for that in everything that the people write. Responsibility, civic duty, purpose, like people kind of know their purpose and they kind of working in their purpose. You can see it by what they've done on their resume and how that ties to their essays that they're writing. And then, of course, character. Character is a big deal. You're not doing it because you want to get money. You're doing it because you believe in it. We tell people a lot of times, do not, what are the best ways to actually kind of decide how you're going to do your how to do the scholarship campaign. I tell people you need to apply to as many scholarships as possible. You don't neglect the small ones. A $50 scholarship can buy a book, can buy pencils, can buy paper. Don't turn it down. Bridge multiple applications, which means I need you to take, if it's the same application, I need you to bridge it across. Like, can you use some of the same information that you use? Just like recycle, recycle, recycle. Don't start over again. Build on what you already have in your scholarship toolkit. You need to write your personal, definitely keep up with what you're doing in terms of a written personal inventory. Leveraging schoolwork and class time. I have been in classrooms recently, and when kids are finished with work, they're on their phones, they're doing things. Let's get more productive with our time and say, you know what, I'm gonna work on some scholarships. Ask your teacher. I tell people, you're not getting hits, you need to learn by example. Go back and revisit what you've already put out. And finally, I tell people, just stick with it. Stick with it. That is not easy. For every scholarship you put out is not going to yield fruit, which means that there's no guarantee you'll get money. You do as many as you can. And usually if you're doing about 10, you might get one. I want to keep in mind that when you're applying for a scholarship, it is definitely a process. And it's going to take time. If you think you're going to slap a scholarship together in 30 minutes, you can forget it. We know that. I mean, as somebody who's seen it, you forget things. It's just the grammar is not great. The spelling is not great. And we can tell someone who's really put some time and effort into something. I want to remind you that you need to be aware of scholarship scams. Here's when you know it's a scam. People start notifying you by phone, and you say, well, how did you get my phone number? It's probably a scam, right? Your counselor gave it to me. Counselors are not going to give away your information like that. When they ask you to pay a fee or other fees, I've had one woman pay almost $1,500. She said, you're guaranteed a scholarship, right? Guess what? She got a $5 scholarship. Everybody is eligible. If it's a scholarship, it's supposed to be special, so everybody is not going to be eligible. And finally, they start asking you for some very unusual requests for personal information. We've seen that happen. My final comments tonight is, every institution differs in how they apply outside grants and scholarship funds. I need for you, when you get a scholarship, to talk to the financial aid office the school you're going to attend about how your financial aid office is going to affect your private and your state aid. Find out if you can use your scholarship to pay for the books and computers and other things you might need, even travel. Scholarships defray the cost of college attendance. Talk to the scholarship funder about potential over-award issues, right? Ask them up front, and definitely meet all deadlines, including additional requirements after you have been awarded. Again, my name is Linda Dowdy. I'm the director of the CalSOAP. And for more information about CalSOAP on social, we are on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and we're also on Instagram. Are there any questions? Carla?
There's nothing unanswered as of right now, but this is a good time, since we have a couple minutes. If people do have questions, now's a good time to drop them in the Q&A. Oh, I see one right now. Let's see. Is the PowerPoint presentation available publicly? May I have a link? So what I'm going to do is the CalSOAP website, which is calsoapsandiego.org, starting tomorrow, this webinar, a recording of the webinar, will be up. And also, Linda, if you can send me a copy of the slides, I will also include the slide deck as well. So that will
Okay.
be available on our CalSIP San Diego website starting tomorrow. And yes, it will be available to the general public.
And I'm also doing a similar in-person scholarship event at Grossmont College at the Griffin Gate area on Monday. So if you're interested, please come out, chit chat with me. But definitely talk with your high school counselors. They know where all the good stuff is in terms of scholarships.
And I've just, let's see, that was late. Looks like we have a couple more. Oh, is there some sort of Dell scholarship, something where they're always looking for San Diego applicants that Linda?
Yes, Dale, I don't know if it's open, but Dale may be open. So please go Google Dale scholarships in San Diego, and it will take you to the website if it's open, or let you know when it's open. And they usually give you a computer.
Yeah, Dell is a good one.
Amtrak was open. I think Amtrak may be coming open pretty soon, which is it's about the trolleys and the things that, transportation. That one should be coming open pretty quickly, along with the San Diego Foundation.
How can we tell the difference between a high quality scholarship and a low quality scholarship? Any insight on that?
Money's money. Money's money. Green is green. I kept telling you, whether it's $50, I'm not going to apply to that because it's only a $50 scholarship. You take every dime, and what you try to do, you build on every $50 is $50 less you have to deal with. So there is no such thing as high quality scholarships versus low quality. You'd be surprised. And a lot of scholarships go unused. People don't apply for them.
There is a question, do you know of any scholarships, quote unquote, for free transport to and from local colleges? I mean, transportation might be part of a college's financial aid package, but you decide on your own how to spend that transportation money, I would think.
Is it, I guess I'm asking the person, are they talking about a college tour, or are they talking about something different? I'm trying to figure it out. Usually in your financial aid package, transportation is there. It's in there. It's not a lot, but at least get you a bus pass.
Yeah, that might be an area where you could spend some of a financial aid package, but it would be up to you, the student, because depending if you drive, if you take the bus, if you take the trolley. So it depends on your situation. And then someone said, remind us where you'll be on Monday evening.
I will be at Grossmont College.
Okay.
I will be at Grossmont College. It's called, they told me it's at the Griffin Gate area in Grossmont College. And it starts at 6 o'clock.
All right. Thank you, Griffin Gate. I see Brianna is answering one. Do you know of any scholarship scams, maybe examples of some you have seen? I mean, I have seen many in my time. I can't think of the name of one right now, but like Linda said, when they're notifying you by phone and you didn't give a phone number, or you never applied for it, or if it's something that says like, oh, everyone is guaranteed to earn a scholarship or that kind of thing, or it's a scholarship, but here you have to pay an application fee for the scholarship. Those are the ones you want to look out for.
The ones I know are coming in the mail, and they will tell you that you have been selected because of your GPA, or someone's nominated you, and you want to know, well, who nominated me, right? Sometimes they will make the implication the school has nominated you, and the school knows nothing about it, right? They will invite you to come down to a hotel, and then they will sit there and try to influence you. The one I remember tried to influence you and tell you that if you pay this amount of money, then we're going to get you a scholarship up to this amount, right? And you're going to say, ooh, and you don't remember they said up to. They may just say only this amount, right? There's also other ones where they use their summer program stuff too, same thing. They have all these people listed who are well-known, recognized politicians or stars or things like that. And they're going to say, if you pay $4,000, you can come out to DC and spend a week or so, and then you can put it on your resume. Well, you're just paying to do that. It's not like you're learning something, but just be very, very aware.
Yes. And that brings us to 7 o'clock. So this is the conclusion of our presentation. Again, calsoapsandiego.org is our website. Starting tomorrow, we will have the slides and we'll have a link to this webinar on our YouTube channel. So we just have one more person that's getting a question answered right now. It's a good question about, like, if you don't receive enough scholarships and grants and things like that, what is like the maximum amount of money you should consider borrowing. So that is definitely individual to every family, and also to what the student is studying and how much earning potential they will have after they graduate. So that's definitely it's going to vary from family to family. But
Absolutely.
I want to go ahead and thank everybody. Thank Linda. Thank you, Brianna, for working on the questions. And we will go ahead and conclude the webinar. Thanks everybody for coming.
Goodbye.
Good night. Thank you for your help, Brianna.